The Running Man. What's up, you guys? So I just got back from seeing The Running Man, and I know you're wondering why is there all this Stranger Things stuff around, and it's because I'm in the middle of reviewing all the Stranger Things seasons, and instead of taking down the whole set just to put up this one little poster of The Running Man, I decided just, you know what? We're gonna use this Demogorgon as a standee. So I just got back from seeing The Running Man, and I gotta say, I keep seeing a lot of controversy within this movie, and from the trailer when it first came out, I know a lot of diehard fans of the book, Stephen King's book, were saying, hey, this looks jokey, this looks like it's a comedy, I don't understand, and they were really excited because they were really thinking it was gonna adapt the book well. I myself have never read the Stephen King Running Man book. However, I really like Stephen King's novels. I read The Shining, and I think that's an amazing novel. So I gotta read all the other ones, but I definitely watched a lot of Stephen King movies. And I gotta say, I think The Running Man's one of my favorite Stephen King movies, for sure. Now, I'll get into all my positives and negatives within the film, but I gotta say some things within this movie. Before this, Stephen King's just has a year this year, man. Like, first off, Welcome to Derry. Welcome to Derry has been great. And like Long Walk, which I never got to review, but that's also amazing. And then this, he just had a very good year. And then with Stranger Things, obviously season 5. Obviously, Stranger Things isn't Stephen King, but it's very based off of Stephen King. There's a lot of Stephen King representation within this year, and that's great to see. Getting into The Running Man. So this movie is just kind of bonkers, and I'm going to keep this spoiler-free for you guys for now until I get to the spoiler section, because there's definitely things that I want to talk about when it gets to spoilers. But keeping this spoiler-free, I saw the original Running Man the night before yesterday, actually, and I gotta say, I think that movie was really bad. I didn't like it at all. I thought Arnold was pretty fun in that movie, but that was it. I thought, obviously, I know it's very different because of budgetary reasons. They obviously couldn't really film a lot of the movie because, obviously, in the book, even in this movie, the whole world hunts the main character or the runners, and obviously in the first one they can't do that because it's the 80s. They didn't really have the budget for that. But that movie was awful. I really disliked it. Now going into this one, I kind of had low expectations seeing some reviews, but I actually thought it was really fun, and I think Glenn Powell is a very charismatic man. I think he was actually very entertaining within this movie, and just had great action scenes, like almost to the level of Tom Cruise for me. It was very fun and very entertaining, and it's so weird because we got two movies where there's these very attractive men, obviously Glenn Powell, and I'm going to say Channing Tatum for Roofman, which is another movie I never got to review that I really loved. But they both these movies have a scene where they are just butt naked walking up a wall. Kind of crazy, but peak cinema. This movie has a lot of commentary onto the world that we live in with, let's say, the government and AI and everything just going on in our country right now. I think it's a very good representation of what's going on. And it's just kind of crazy. Like they kind of shove it down your throat a little too much at times, but I actually really appreciated it. I was like, because the moment I realized what was going on, I was like, whoa, wait, I don't know how I didn't see this. Running Man, hunters going after people. It's kind of right there, like they're wearing masks. It's all right in front of your face, and I'm like, I can't believe I didn't realize what was going on. But also with AI and like deepfakes and whatever that one company is that's like TikTok with AI videos. Kind of crazy. They show that a lot in this movie where you don't know really what's going on or what's happening because it's all AI, and like not the movie itself, but the movie within the movie they're using AI and stuff. It's kind of scary and how accurate this movie is. And even in the original novel, it takes place in 2025. This movie came out in 2025. And it's eerily similar as to what's going on in our world right now. This movie is very fun, and I know it's directed by Edgar Wright. And Edgar Wright, I actually really love. I love Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I think he's so saucy when he makes movies like Shaun of the Dead. Now, I'm not a big fan of At World's End and Hot Fuzz, and I never saw Baby Driver or Last Night in Soho. But I did see this, and I gotta say, out of the movies that I did see, I think this is in the middle when it comes to the sauce and the flavor that Edgar Wright can produce. I actually really liked it. I didn't see a really big problem with it, and I actually did see a little bit of Edgar Wright's flair within the movie. There's scenes where we're in cities, and the landscapes are just beautiful. Like, there's a scene in New York City, and just the landscape in New York City is great. There's a few other cities in here, and that's why I'm going to talk about my spoilers, because there's one city in particular that I really want to talk about. But also, there's just a lot of characters within this movie that are really entertaining and fun. And I really like the relationship that our main character, I forget his name, but Glenn Powell has with his wife, who's actually the girl from Sinners and from Batman, the mayor. I thought that was really entertaining. Did not know she was in there, and it kind of made me smile. I'm like, oh, that's that girl. But I really like his whole, like, plot and like saying like, hey, I need to provide for my family because obviously his daughter's sick and 2 years old, and they're kind of in the low area within the world. The one negative I will say about this movie, I think this man has way too much plot armor, like insane amount of plot armor. Like this guy just gets around and with characters' help, and it's kind of crazy. But I will say, I think also with that argument, Glen Powell's character is a very good action person. Like he's smart, he knows what to do, he's very angry and charismatic, and so he knows how to work the system. A lot like Hunger Games. This movie reminds me a lot of like Hunger Games. And honestly, when it comes to the themes within this movie of like, you know, corruption and the government and how like it interacts with the city and stuff, you know, stuff like that. It reminded me of one movie, A Bug's Life. Similar to A Bug's Life with like the ants rising up against Hopper, the grasshoppers. It's very similar to this movie, and just like I said, Hunger Games, a dystopian future, a lot like how we are heading towards. And that's kind of what's scary to me. And I think that's kind of why I like this movie, is because it kind of opened my eyes. I was like, wow, this is kind of scary if we're heading to something like this. But needless to say, I think this movie was very fun. I actually really enjoyed it, and I think that's also another problem. It is too fun at times, but for me, I kind of was vibing with that vibe. I kind of liked how it led into the comedy and into the action, and then it had moments that were a little like, oh my gosh, this is actually insane, you know, commentary-wise. But I think all the acting performances were good. I think all the plot was good, and it was very entertaining. Getting into my spoilers now, I want to just give you guys a warning. If you don't want to get spoiled for the movie, go watch, skip forward. Talking about some spoilers within this movie, obviously there's a lot of plot armor. There's these two guys that help our main character kind of escape Boston, and I think that was kind of like a little red flag. I'm like, okay, this is going on a little like too much. Like, obviously, why are you gonna help him when you need help too? With obviously your sister has cancer. That caught me off guard. I was like, that's a little weird. That's a little suspicious. But the main cool thing about this movie that I really want to talk about is Derry. I thought that was really fun, and I kind of like that. It's just a small little thing that Stephen King added in there, or, well, Edgar Wright added into the movie, probably with Stephen King's permission, because Stephen King tends to do that. He adds all, like, little details, like The Shining is in Welcome to Derry with Dick, and obviously with Shawshank Redemption, and now this takes place in Derry for a little bit, and I was like, oh my god, are we going to see, like, Pennywise in this? And then I forgot they defeated Pennywise in Chapter 2, and this takes place in the future, I assume. So, yeah, but that was really cool, and I kind of wanted to see the Paul Bunyan statue, but we didn't get that. That was kind of sad, but I really liked how they represented Derry, and they were in Derry for a long while. Like a long while. But yeah, I think it was really fun, and I thought the ending was kind of a little too much towards the end. It kind of like made it, they were getting like, once like I feel like they hijacked the car, like our main character, and kind of took a prisoner or whatever. That kind of is when it got a little too ridiculous and a little too much. But I think at the ending really made it recover when Glen Powell obviously goes up to Josh Brolin and like says like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, yada yada yada, and that's the end of the movie. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, that's my my spoilers, I guess. Getting into my overall thoughts, here are my overall thoughts right here, and I'm going to give this movie an 81 out of 100. Currently, it's my number 11 spot, so it's just shy of the top 10 of the year. I actually really enjoyed this movie, and I think it's a very good time, and I recommend it to you guys to see in theaters. I know 3C Films, he didn't like this movie, which I can understand why, but for me, I actually really enjoyed it, and I saw this with my good friend Jake Marks, the Marksman, and he actually really liked it too. So I think casual moviegoers will like this, and honestly, as a film person that watches a ton of movies, I really like it, and it's in my top of the year out of like 66 movies, 67 movies. Those are my thoughts on it. So if you like this video, make sure you like it. If you really like this video, make sure you subscribe. And if you want to see future videos like this, make sure you ring the bell in the description down below. With all that being said, moving it out. Peace.